Being a linebacker, we kind of play the best of both worlds because we have to play the pass and the run. So the queen is the linebacker. Quote from Micah Parsons. So obvious that's a big coincidence to hear Micah Parsons refer to himself as the queen, because anybody that's been listening to Boss Cowboy Sports for any amount of time know I also refer to him as a queen on the chessboard. I actually did a whole show about it. So y'all can go check it out because I identified linebacker going into the draft as our top offseason need, more so to protect the queen. That was my fifth reason of the five reasons why I said middle linebacker is the biggest need for the Dallas Cowboys. And he did a commercial, and it was a good commercial where basically in his commercial he talked about chess and football and how he saw the pieces and how they related to the Dallas Cowboys. And I still see him as the queen. I stand by it. It's a lot of reasons why though, and it makes sense. When you're looking at Michael Parsons, you're looking at a person that can attack from multiple positions. When he said he was the queen, he said he was the queen because he can play both the pass and the run. I said he was the queen because he can also pass rush. He's the ultimate weapon, right? So, but his impact, let's be clear on this, his major impact is as a pass rusher. I'm going to say it just like this, and I mean this. I'm going to even highlight this on myself. I got to make myself big when I say this. You could literally have somebody play defensive end their whole life, 6'6", and run a 4.5 or 4.6 and be a top 10 draft choice and could not do what Michael Parsons did when he was thrown out there to play defensive end. I'm talking about guys that trained for that position their whole life couldn't do what he did as somebody that was just raw. So that tells you his potential as a queen. Keep in mind what I just said. His potential as a pass rusher is way bigger than his potential as a linebacker. You could find other linebackers that could play linebacker just as good as him, but it's going to be very hard to find a pass rusher as natural, as instinctive, and as God-fearing as he is coming off that edge. Which brings us to Anthony Barr, because we're going to obviously go through him, go through his film. We're going to break his games all the way down because he's interesting. And we go answer the questions. Is this real? Is this smoke? Is this something that could happen? Does it make sense? So we go through everything though. We go through everything because it actually does. But what y'all gonna have to do is you're gonna have to stay with this presentation all the way to the end to see exactly where I'm coming from. And you go get it. We go do a full breakdown on him. Because I do feel like I definitely know what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys. There are some concerns at linebacker, and it's clear. It started with, which I also did talked about in my 5 reasons why middle linebacker is the biggest need for the Dallas Cowboys. One of the biggest clues of it being a major need is that the fact that it was at one time very real talks with Bobby Wagner, with Dan Quinn. He revealed that himself. That alone should have told us how serious the Dallas Cowboys are looking at linebacker. Then it's also what Jerry said on day 3 of the draft. I want y'all to listen to Jerry.
One of the questions that I kept asking Mike and Dan and if you will and Steven, one of the questions I kept asking, is there a pick here that would give us a big compliment to what Micah is? Is there a pick here that would make him have more pass pressure, or let us use him more flexibly behind the line of scrimmage, get more blitz out of him, or get that? Where's the complementary aspect to it? And we really addressed that good. And I think that when you look at Damone Clark and you look at Harper, I think that, and then when you step over and look at Sam Williams, I think we have really upped what the options that we have with Micah.
So as you can see, it's a priority to Jerry himself. So, and the thought process is the compliment. Did you hear what he said? He said a compliment. Basically, protecting the queen. How are we going to protect this queen? Leading us to Anthony Barr. So stay with us all the way to the end on this, because this is a good one. So my next question is it real? I think it's very real. First of all, when you look around, it's a lot of noise surrounding this. It's a lot. If you just Google Anthony Barr's name, the first thing you go see is a bunch of articles as of lately, like within the last week, all talking about there's a potential for Anthony Barr with the Dallas Cowboys. Sometimes these are just people that's trying to drum up news in a slow off season. Sometimes it's based on real interest where agents are trying to fan the flames, or you have the Dallas Cowboys trying to get a certain price and they putting stuff out there to fill out interest. But it's a lot of news. You just look a couple of places just by Googling his name and you're going to see it everywhere. Anthony Barr as a potential candidate. And it makes sense for a lot of reasons. First of all, Minnesota is a good trading place for us as of lately, or we've been doing good business with Minnesota. Georgia Loca too. Georgia Loca at one time was playing with Minnesota. He ended up playing with Dallas for a little while. Then obviously we had Curse, right? Who's over here because of George Edwards. And George Edwards, you telling me George Edwards is not pounding the table for Anthony Barr? One of your team leaders, 4-time Pro Bowlers. So if Dan Quinn was pounding the table for Bobby Wagner, it just makes sense to pound the table for Anthony Barr, especially if you're serious about protecting the queen. So let's dive into the film. Let's just get right into the film. So let's look at him first versus Chicago, because to me this one is interesting. So one of the things you'll see when you watch him versus Chicago is you go see obviously a very fundamental player. I highlight him. Y'all look for the orange glow that I put around him. But when you look at him, you still see somebody that plays with tremendous game speed. We're going to talk about his injuries. We're going to talk about all of that. But he clearly still flies around like a young man. You don't see any flaws in his game at all. And he's a playmaker. He's somebody that makes a lot of plays, and you see him play with his instincts. He makes an open field tackle easily on Dalton right here, runs him down, closes him down easy. You know, you can see that Anthony Barr has a lot left in the tank. And, you know, even when he take on blocks, like you can see him take on a block right here, they get very little push on him. He wasn't aggressive enough hitting that A gap, but you didn't see major push even going against a guard. I still call him Superman. So we call players Superman, people that's still willing to dive and fly around. And he does that. You still see him leaving his feet, diving around like he's a very young athlete. And it's hard to block him. Like you go see all these receivers and everybody trying to crack back him and block him. He go just, you know, push him off like it's a flea and make the tackle. No problem. He's a long Dan Quinn-ish type of linebacker. One of the things that I definitely love about him is his balance. He has great balance still. You go see him get cut right here, keep his feet, and make the sack. I can go show you film on Sam Williams getting cut down like a tree as a youngster. And you can still see the instincts here where he feels and gets a tackle for loss and makes a jab step on that guard and feels on that A gap, makes the tackle. Man, Anthony Barr still the man. And you could also still see the sideline speed. You can still see it. So just watch him as he pursue on this and he makes this tackle. Yeah, he destroys the guy. So Anthony Barr still got a lot left in him. And then let's go look at him versus the champions, because I want to see what he did against big opponents. And I called him a Marshall's athlete because he's a former first rounder, former great, and he still plays that way. The Dallas Cowboys do great with the former first or the former greats. That's one of the best that we do as of late. And then one of the things I like about him as you watch his film is you'll see him always stripping at the ball. That's the type of habits you want, because first of all, that's contagious when guys are trying to get the ball a lot. That's a good example to your teammates, but it actually works when you stripping at the ball. One of the things that I really like here is you go see him bait the quarterback. He go bait the quarterback. He go get out of that throwing zone, and then he go right into it and make the interception. I mean, the man can play. It is no doubt. Like, is he Bobby Wagner? No. But you can see him on a tackle for loss right here with fantastic instincts. Fantastic instinct. Shoots the gap. Makes the tackle for a loss. Long, can't get around him. Sure tackler. And you can see the same A-gap pressure that we used to seeing from Micah Parsons when we do have him play linebacker. And you see him get excellent pressure with balance. So, yeah, it's a lot still left in him. He's a full Marshall's quality pick and would be a good asset to the Dallas Cowboys. So some would say, well, does he make sense, especially with us having all these young guys? Because, boss, you got to think, what's going to happen to the development of these guys? Well, I would hear that argument if those guys was healthy, right? If we didn't have a lot of risk in the linebacker room. But to me, we have a lot of risk, not little risk, a lot of risk. So if we just look at the risk, we know LVE as a middle linebacker, especially when you talk about going against 9 rushing opponents. If we already talked about that in another video, but we gonna have 9 rushing opponents, and we gonna be going against a bunch of good running backs. I counted 11. And if you go put literally LVE against all these running backs that we getting ready to face with these running schemes, I counted 9 running opponents with 11 to 12 quality running backs that's going to be coming downhill for a majority of our games. The people that don't have a history of being sustainable, why trust them? Like Luke, same thing with him. Then Jabril Cox, you got to think about it. Jabril Cox, he had a he was injured, I think, the second game of the Giants. He was just getting going. So we still don't know who he is. He basically a rookie. And he was somebody that struggled with tackling when he was at LSU. Then obviously Clark, I mean, he got major upside, but we know he gonna start the season likely on the PUP list. So then when you look at Sam Williams, he played linebacker, but he played mostly outside linebacker. So is he really the answer? You know, even though he might be able to do it, his learning curve would be pretty steep. Then the person that has the most pedigree for linebacker, but Devin Harper was only a 1-year starter from being in college over 5 years. A 1-year starter. So you don't have a lot of experience there. So I just broke down pretty much a majority of the linebacker room. And would that give you confidence? If we just kind of use our common sense, would that give you confidence going into 9 rushing opponents, right? All those running backs that we getting ready to face. Would you have confidence? What's the smartest thing for the Dallas Cowboys to do if you're serious about protecting your queen? If you're serious about protecting your queen, Micah Parsons, right? If you're serious, right, and you say, I want to protect my queen, that does leave you with the option that can make us better quick. That leaves us one good quality option. There's other linebackers out there, but we talking about trying to win a Super Bowl. We not trying to get guys that just go fill needs, but they don't really play good football. And then let's talk about him also from a production standpoint that I noticed of why I trust it. Because first of all, he would be a rotational linebacker. he obviously would start, but you would also rotate him so you could keep all the other guys, right? But then notice his 2021 production, where he only played 11 games because he was banged up, but he played the last 5 where he went off. Is one thing that gives me confidence in this game. Yes, you can see the last 2 years he didn't play a lot of football, but before that he was very durable. And even when he had his full seasons, his production in 11 games was just as good as his production in his 16 game seasons. So meaning it's some turn up left in him. So it makes sense, especially when you look at the trying to protect your queen and you look at the urgency of what Jerry spoke with, because he spoke with real urgency and it made sense. Everything that he said made sense when he was talking about who can complement, who is going to allow Micah to do more of what he was doing. Like, who's going to do that? Do you trust that room to do it? He was right on that. And that's also why I was saying linebacker is our top need. And it is. It still is. And we should do something about it. So as I'm looking at the tea leaves, I can tell y'all right now, it looked like it's some potential here to where a deal could get done. Let's try to help push this through. Right? You got to share this one. This one you got to share. You got to push this out there. Put this on your Twitter. Put this on your Facebook. Put this everywhere, because we trying to get the word out there and we trying to really push the idea of protecting Queen Micah Parsons. And it makes sense. And you will be getting a veteran in here. It makes sense for a whole lot of reasons. Yes, you do lose a little bit of development of the younger guys, but some of those guys need time. You telling me Clark don't need time? Coming off pup? You telling me Cox don't need time? We need to give them guys time. If you can get a vet in here that might steal some of the developmental reps, but it buys them time to get acclimated, healthy, and secures our most important room to keep Micah Parsons free, it makes sense. So here at Boss Cowboy Sports, we've been doing a lot of breakdowns, and I put all these links in the description. So we did one on Tyler. Obviously, we did one on Damone. We did one on Sam. We did one on Ferguson. We did another one on Tolbert. So, and our last one that we did was obviously on Harper, which is doing good. So we gonna continue to put out this type of content, and y'all make sure y'all share, like, and subscribe. I also want to get y'all thoughts on this particular video, but more importantly, I want y'all to share this one because it's very important, and this is what I really think can really complete the defense. So y'all stay up. It's Boss Cowboy Sports, where your voice matter. On the way out, hit the like and subscribe, and y'all stay up.